What's up, Leo? Welcome to your October 2020 Creativity Tarot reading. My name is Kaylee Jean, and welcome to my channel. I record these readings for artists, entrepreneurs, and anyone who's working on their personal growth or their self-expression, or even just their personal spirituality in any form. So if those areas of life are important for you, I encourage you to go ahead and keep listening, and let's get into your reading. While I was tuning in for you, I felt a very strong sense of needing to I guess I want to say, trust in the value that you have generated within yourself. I kept hearing the words like personal capital, which is funny. It's a very kind of interesting combination of words, but I feel like this is really about you recognizing the value that you have generated either through your studies or through your craft or through whatever it is that you offer to others. I feel like there's something about you needing to trust basically that is enough and to just kind of go with the flow. Honestly, Leo, it feels like this month is a month where you can actually achieve a lot, but it's not going to necessarily come from pushing, and it's not really going to come from directing your path in a very specific manner. I honestly feel like this time for you, this October time for you, is about kind of relaxing into your sense of worth and your sense of value. And that may feel foreign in some ways, especially if you're doing something new. That could feel a little bit uncomfortable because you might want to keep looking for ways that you can add more value, which is always a really great, mindset to be in if you're an entrepreneur or an artist or somebody who serves other people. It's always a great mindset to be in. It's like, how can you add more value? Because that's really how you, serve other people, is by adding value. But I also feel like there's this sense of like, you are enough. So just go with it. Just go with it. Let your life and the conditions of your life and the conditions of your business, the conditions of your clients, the conditions of all of the things that you don't necessarily have control over, I want you to assess those conditions, right? It's what people want. It's the type of way of delivering to them what they want, right? It's the form that your work takes. It's all of these things. I want you to look at the conditions that surround you and allow that to kind of dictate how you move forward, as opposed to thinking of some kind of abstract barometer, some kind of abstract structure that you want to impose on life. I want you to just approach things as though you completely and inherently know the value and the worth that you bring, and you're willing and open to find creative solutions to serve, your clients or your customers or even your family. If you're not necessarily running a business right now, it could be about meeting the needs of the people in your family, meeting the needs of the people in your community. I feel like this is really about just asking, life essentially how you can serve, what you can do that will be mutually beneficial, have that sense of reciprocity. So I feel like this is about really just trusting, relaxing, knowing that you can do this, knowing that you can be of service and be of value, and just being willing to try things that are maybe different if it looks like that's what's going to benefit the situation. So you're kind of letting the situation and the dynamics of your relationships dictate how things move forward, because you have that ability to trust in yourself and your ability to adapt, right, to unusual circumstances or doing things in a different way. So let's take a look at your cards and we'll get some more information. Leo, Leo, Leo. I'm using this Halloween tarot deck. I think it's a really sweet and lighthearted, kind of weird deck, but I'm really enjoying it. I'll put a link to this one below. Leo. So we've got the lamb as your path, crossed by the bee. Yeah, see, this is so funny that so much of what was coming through in the meditation was about being of service, right? And then you get the bee card as what's influencing you, and it's the lesson that you're learning. It's the role that you're stepping into in life this month, and it's the bee. So it is a kind of a busy energy. You're going to be really looking for the best ways to accomplish tasks that you have in front of you. I feel you being very productive. I feel you being very, again, service oriented, wanting to provide something that is going to make situations better for other people. So this is a very empowering attitude. I think that you are going to be adding a lot of value. I think that you will be solving problems, for example, for people. So maybe your creative mindset is going to be activated this month in October, where you're going to be seeing, how maybe people around you tend to ask for your advice, right? People around you tend to seek you out actively to get some insight from you, whether it's friends or people at work, or maybe, individuals that you are colleagues with in your industry. It's almost like people want to kind of work with you this month. And I think that could be very positive for you, because you also have the lamb. So the lamb is your path. This is about being vulnerable, Leo. It's about opening yourself up to a more authentic or more vulnerable way of expressing yourself. This could be pointing also at some different spiritual rituals or spiritual practices that you're going to be implementing this month, and just generally looking for ways to live in I guess I want to say the emotional state or the vibrational state that you personally want to live in, which is reaching higher somehow, Leo. I feel like you're reaching higher within yourself. So when we put these together, it's almost like you have a new calling or a new feeling of purpose in your life. And you really have this authentic, almost innocent, naive in some ways, yes, but also the other side of that is idealistic. An idealistic, innocent, pure desire to help others, or a pure desire to serve. So this is a very humble energy that I get with both of these cards, and I think that this is going to serve you really well to just kind of move with that. So let's take a look at your tarot cards. You've got the King of Imps, which is the King of Wands, the Tower, Justice, and the Lovers. Seven of Bats with Temperance, King of Bats, which is King of Swords, and Page of Swords, which is Page of Bats here. Really sweet. Okay. So you've got the elephant in the room, which is the Tower card, but it's above Temperance, which is fascinating to me. Because on the one hand, like, the upper part of this spread is very dynamic, right? It's very chaotic, but not necessarily, doesn't mean that it's chaotic in a negative way. It's more like it's chaotic in the way that it's stirring things up to allow for new patterns to emerge and evolve in your life. And then the bottom cards, though, are very calm. They're very thoughtful. They're very strategic, right? They're all swords cards or air cards, with the exception or the addition of Temperance, which is a major arcana that has to do with healing. So on the one hand, I feel like your reading, goes through the month of October, but on the other hand, I feel like this is showing you the levels of experience of your life, because on the top level of your experience, you've got these major changes with the Tower, and the King of Wands is a very dynamic energy as well. It's about solution-oriented thinking, problem solving, being dynamic, going after opportunities, initiating change, right? And being a seeker, which is what you're doing at that full moon in Aries, which is actually in your 9th house, symbolically speaking. So that again shows this desire for expansion. When you have a full moon in Aries conjunct, the next one is going to be conjunct Uranus at the end of the month on Halloween. But in the full moon in Aries has a lot of tense aspects before and afterwards and during. So there's some tension that's building that almost makes you want to explode in a way. It makes you want to expand. Maybe some of you are feeling a little bit of cabin fever or something like that. Like some of you might be feeling like, okay, I'm restless. I want to go on a trip, or I want things to go back to normal. You know, if you've been spending more time at home, it's like maybe you enjoyed that at first, but now you're like, okay, I want to go out more. I want to do stuff, or there's something along those lines. And maybe it's not that, maybe it's, you know, in your own life, maybe you're just feeling a little bit stagnant in your career or in your relationship. And it doesn't necessarily mean you have to change your career or end your relationship, but it's more about pursuing changes that are going to feel energizing to you, because there's a strong amount of vitality coming through in your cards. There's a strong energy of life force that's being ignited within you. So you're going to be feeling more energetic. And in the first couple weeks of the month, it's like things are getting stirred up, but it's for the greater good. And you see that by the second week of October when you have Justice and the Lovers. Justice and the Lovers coming up after the Tower and the King of Wands. The King of Wands could be somebody in your life, or it could be you, a fire sign, or another fire sign, Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius, who is shaking things up for some reason with the Tower, or some kind of big change is happening and being initiated. Could be within you or could be from outside of you, but it's affecting you. And that brings a sense of uncertainty. But then by the second week, you have Justice and the Lovers. So you're starting to get a handle on things again. You're starting to feel like things are making sense. With Justice, it's about honoring fairness, and it's almost cosmic. It's like the law of cause and effect is really like the Justice card. So what goes up must come down. What gets stirred up will eventually settle and become clear again, right? If you were to go like this with a stick in a pond, you're going to stir up all of that, you know, dirt and mud and gunk from the bottom. But if you come back out an hour later, it'll be all settled and clear again. And I feel like that's how the first 2 weeks of October feel for you. It's almost like you are working with something that feels kind of cloudy or uncertain, and then by the second week you are making sense of things again. And it could be also that a relationship in your life of importance is sort of finding some kind of important rebalancing or like a reconnection. So that's really what I'm seeing there. By the third week of October, we have the Seven of Air with Temperance, which in the deck is the Seven of Bats. And one of the things that I see with this, it's interesting because the bats are, you know, the swords. And so we see this guy kind of walking away, but he's looking back, and he's looking back at Temperance. So there's almost like a retreat that you need in the third week of October. I think as the sun is gearing up to move into Scorpio, you're going to probably need a little bit of a timeout for yourself, Leo. So I want you to try and schedule a little less on your plate in that third week of October. Because remember, we saw earlier that the first 2 weeks of October are very dynamic. They're very explosive. They're very, like, things are happening. Let's just put it that way. And so by the third week, you're really going to need a little bit more downtime than normal so that you can relax and integrate. So try and maybe have just some time to yourself, or schedule in a personal day, for example, on that third week, some point in there that works for you. I would definitely say that, because I think you need a little bit of like personal creative time, right? With Temperance here. This is such a cute Temperance card. She's got her little potions, and she's got a little dog. That's funny, or a little animal in her apron. Which is funny because I actually did that the other night with my puppy. I put him in my apron. So it's definitely standing out to me. But Yeah, I think this is really, really cute for you guys. So it is going to be about like maybe scheduling some time to work on your art. If you're an artist, you maybe need like a day to just work on your paintings and just put out your canvas and get out all your paints and just make a big mess. And it doesn't matter because you have the whole day or the whole weekend to just chill and make your art. Whatever it is, I think you just need something like that. It's like a nurturing, creative process that you just have to go through. So try and schedule in some time for that. Now, the last week of October, we have the Page of Bats and the King of Bats, which are the King and Page of Swords. There's a power dynamic at play with these energies. It could have something to do with an air sign person in your life, or it could simply be something about you that you're thinking about. These could both be aspects of you. But if it's a person, it could be that there are either a couple of air sign people involved in your life, like a younger person and an older person, or it could be that you are one of these people. But either way, it feels like there's someone who's kind of taking on more of a mentor role, and there's someone who's taking on more of a mentee role. And it's really about balance, I think. I think that there's a lot that can be gained out of this relationship, whether it's you seeking out a mentor or someone else mentoring you. I think there's a lot that can be gained, but you need to really be clear on what you want to get out of the relationship. You know, whichever position you're in, whichever role you're playing. I feel like with the swords, it is a very mental and strategic partnership. There's a sense of important things being worked on or discussed. Some of you might have been wanting a coach or wanting a mentor or wanting to mentor other people, for example, for a long time. And if that's the case, you know, I feel like you're kind of making that happen at the end of the month. And it's very, the thing about this, the bats or the air quality is there's going to be fun. Like this guy looks, the Page of Bats looks like he's having fun, right? He's going trick-or-treating. But the King of Swords looks quite serious. So there is something about this relationship where you can have fun, but you definitely are going to want to get back to business, right? So it's good because you're working with people that you can have fun with, but you're also, you know, you're going to feel very driven to be strategic, and to really kind of not, you're going to want to like take the emotion out of things a little bit and really just kind of have that refreshing, blunt, you know, way of relating with someone where it's just like you're both not like really hurting each other's feelings. You're not getting into like, you know, anything that's too kind of intense, but you're really just like, oh, teaching each other or talking about things that are very effective and efficient, and you're just getting a lot out of that. So it's a very strategic partnership that I'm seeing as a potential for some of you guys. And if it's not a new partnership or coach or mentor relationship, it could be, you know, that you are working with someone in your family that way, or you could be, you know, helping a friend out or something like that, or receiving help from someone. But either way, it's all about what works, right? It's just about figuring out what really works and then, you know, working at it. So let's take a look at your Bob Ross message. He says, this would be a good place for my little squirrel to live. Beautiful. Yeah, so I think this is really referring to that third week, like the creativity, like the creative retreat that you're going to need in the third week. It's like you need to like paint a little squirrel. And that's going to be your happy place. So I hope that this is helpful for you, Leo. Please let me know in the comments if you have any thoughts that you want to share. If you want to say thank you, you can give this video a thumbs up. You can leave me a little happy Halloween message, or leave me a little jack-o'-lantern emoji or something like that, or just wish me a happy Halloween. If you want to support my channel, that's a really great way to do it, is just to leave a nice comment. I absolutely love hearing from you guys as well. And you can donate if you choose to. Even just $1 is so fantastic and so helpful for supporting the energy that I put into these readings every month. Thank you so much for being here, Leo. Sending you tons of love, and I will talk to you next time.